So you can't tango with an aggressor. You're hearing there from Ukraine in terms of how to deal with Russia. In step with responding back, the U.S. military's new expanded combat training of Ukrainian forces began on Sunday. That is happening in Germany. Joining me now to talk more about the foreign policy surrounding the war in Ukraine is William Taylor, former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. Thank you for being with us this morning. It's great to see you. Do you agree you can't tango with an aggressor? And how do you approach Putin?
So, Marni, you certainly can't tango with this aggressor. This aggressor has committed, has vowed to destroy Ukraine. He has vowed to eliminate Ukraine. This is what we think of when we think of genocide, and trying to negotiate with someone who doesn't believe your nation is even a nation, has any sovereignty, has vowed to try to eliminate your nation. She's right. You can't negotiate with that kind of a person.
That said, how does this end?
This ends when that man pulls his military troops, when Putin pulls the Russian forces out of Ukraine. And that will happen when he understands that he's lost in Ukraine, that his military has failed. And that will happen as we continue to provide the weapons to the Ukrainian military, as we've been doing and as we are continuing to do, so that they can push the Russians out of their country.
The Russian military is struggling. How will we know when and if it has failed?
We will know that it has failed when they depart Ukraine, when they are pushed out of Ukraine by the Ukrainian military, or when President Putin realizes that he cannot win, Now, if he realizes that, Marni, and pulls his troops out, that will be an indication, that will be the indication that this phase of the war is over, but he will not quit. He'll be back. So it's important for us to be sure that Ukraine can continue to defend itself.
Some of those who I've interviewed on this program, including a U.S. veteran who has followed the conflict very closely, said this doesn't end until Putin is gone. How would you characterize that?
He's probably right. He's probably right. That is, Putin, President Putin, Vladimir Putin, has an obsession with Ukraine. And it's probably because he wants to be a hero. He thinks that by taking Ukraine, by eliminating Ukraine, by absorbing Ukraine back into Russia, he will be a great Russian leader. And until he is gone, there will continue to be a threat to Ukraine.
Ego is a major part of this.
NATO is a big part of this.
Ego. NATO, yes, but ego in terms of Vladimir Putin and how he perceives himself. Both are important.
Both are important. You're right about that. But you're right about ego. This is largely about President Putin's desire to go down in Russian history as a great leader, as a great czar, as someone who reassembled, who regathered the lands like previous czars had done. He wants to do it. So it is an ego.
He's running out of allies. We know that Iran has been supplying drones and other weaponry to Russia. He's now turning to Belarus. How important is that partnership to Russia? And as we watch them take part in these aviation drills, is that significant? Is it concerning?
Allies are very important. Our allies are important. Ukraine's allies are important. Ukraine's lucky in that its allies are NATO, that we just mentioned, the European Union, Japan, the international community, the Western international community are allies of Ukraine. What does Russia have? Russia doesn't even have China. China has refused to help Russia get around these sanctions. Russia can't count on India. Russia can count, as you just said, Marni, on Belarus, or maybe Iran, or maybe North Korea. Those are not strong allies. So in terms of the strength, economic strength, military strength, political strength, the allies of Ukraine dominate the allies of Russia.
Finally, how soon before we see the impact of some of the training for Ukraine's soldiers, both happening in the United States and now in Germany?
So in the United States, those Ukrainian soldiers are being taught, trained on the use of the Patriot missile. Now, the Ukrainians have learned to use U.S. weapons and NATO weapons very quickly. Our generals have been very impressed at how quickly they learn. And so I would imagine it would be within weeks. Now, the training that's going on in Germany is for combined arms tactics. That's using military, that's using tanks and infantry and air support. That takes longer. So I would imagine that would be a month or two.
All right, we shall see. Appreciate your perspective as always. William Taylor, former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. Thank you.
Thank you, Marni.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.